Welcome to Aligned AF, real talk for evolving souls with Yahweh Kent. Join Yahweh for honest conversations on spiritual growth, the messiness of life, and how to move through it all at a higher frequency. So grab a cup of tea and let's sail in. This is Aligned AF, and here's Yahweh.
And welcome to Aligned AF, Real Talk for the Evolving Soul. I'm Yahweh, and we have a very special guest with us today. This is a podcast episode that I've been wanting to do for weeks and weeks and weeks, and have been threatening to do for weeks and weeks and weeks, and have been suggesting we do for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we're finally getting around to it today. Ladies and gentlemen, my person, my wife, my love, Ahlara Faith Kent.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, it's so good to see you this way, because we see each other every other way, all the other times.
Every other way. So here we are doing it in the new way. Wow,
that was suggestive. So yeah, folks, that's what this episode's probably going to be like. We wanted to get together and talk about what it's like to be on a spiritual journey of your own while you're with a partner who's on a spiritual journey of their own, and the two of you are navigating a spiritual journey of your we space with your little son, and also both living human lives. So it sounds complicated because it is. And we have been working on this and with this dynamic for coming up on 10 years now.
10 years.
10 years.
Can't believe it. Wow, 10 years.
I know.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot in 10 years.
And they said we'd never make it.
A lot of good, a lot of hard, a lot of amazing, so much growth. It feels like 10 years. We've done more healing together in 10 years than, like, I don't know how many lifetimes. We did it all in a very short amount of time.
And I've got an extra lifetime over you.
You do. Yes,
we have
we have 23 and a half years between us. I like to add the half because it's funny.
Yeah, we do. We have quite the age gap, and it's become kind of a running joke when we, like, I'll comment on some music and she'll just stare at me blankly and say age gap, or she'll mention One Direction or something like that.
Oh my God, no, I did not. But I would say if we do have, whenever we throw out the age gap, it's mainly for music and movies.
It is. It is. Yeah. Okay, well, why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and kind of what started you off on your spiritual journey, let's just say 10 years ago or something like that, because that's when we met.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
There is. How
do we fit this in?
I know this is probably going to be 2 episodes because I'm not going to limit it. I'm not going to try to put anything in a box.
Okay. So here we go. So my name is Ahlara, and I wasn't always Ahlara. I actually went through a name change and a profound shift in 2015, the year that I met Yahweh, who was also not Yahweh at that time either. Him and I have both changed our names. And let's see about me. I'm definitely a multi-dimensional starseed. I do channeling work, mediumship work, am a light worker, priestess, divine feminine, huge advocate and embodiment of New Earth. I guess that's like the work that I do. I am a messy human. I identify as female and
in every way.
Let's see. I'm a mother. Our son is 8. Amazing. I always say that, like, when bringing him into the world, I rebirthed myself at the same time I birthed him. And I'm a trauma survivor, and I will go with the word walk-in because that's the best way kind of to describe. I went through multiple near-death experiences. I'm actually coming up on my 20-year heart surgery anniversary on Sunday. And so, yes, so went from a lot of disembodiment, PTSD, I would say like soul fracturing, mental fracturing, physically had a lot of surgeries and was really sick. And then I would say from like 2015 on to now, 2025, I have put myself back together with the help of Yahweh holding space for me and bringing down incredible technology for me. And I would say that you and I have both held space for each other.
Yeah.
Through our death and rebirth process. And because you and I both almost physically died multiple times during our spiritual awakening process, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Well, to add some balance to that, I was born and grew up in Massachusetts. I lived there for 53 years, and I had reached a point in my life where I had been married a couple times, divorced a couple times, had 3 grown men for children, and had reached a point where I wasn't happy in my career. I had always been really successful. I'd always been a boss of some kind or a trainer of some kind, and I just had reached a point where it wasn't working for me anymore. So I literally walked away from my job, sold everything that didn't fit in the back of my pickup truck, and drove 1,400 miles, not really knowing what to expect, but I had a couple of intentions. Ahlara was not one of them at the time. I had the intention of working at Unity Village. I didn't care what the job was. I just wanted to work there because the land was so magical, and I wanted to set myself up in the spiritual community. And I got the job at Unity Village within the first month of being here. And then one day, while I was working at the bookstore, this woman walked in who was cute. And I was like, I'm going to go talk to her and see if she needs help. And we ended up talking for probably half an hour, 45 minutes. And by the time we finished our conversation and she got to her car, we were already like friends on Facebook, and just started talking to each other and going to spiritual events and just talking bizarre shit that I had never expected I'd be talking about. And we went through several months of, I'm not looking for a relationship. I just got out of something. I don't want to do it. She had just gotten through a divorce and she wasn't looking, and I had just moved out here and totally changed my whole view of life, and so I wasn't looking for anything to complicate things. And she made a point of telling me over and over and over
I don't want a relationship.
That she didn't want a relationship, to the point where I was like, I don't either, but it's starting to feel like rejection, and I haven't even asked you out. So, but we just started spending more and more time together, and late night talks, and dealing with trauma, and dealing with spirit, and dealing with healing tools, and trying to get her through some stuff, and me working on my stuff the whole time. And we got to be like almost inseparable. We were just like, I know from my perspective, I can't speak from Alara's point of view, but from my perspective, I looked forward to seeing her. I knew deep inside somewhere I was starting to have feelings for her, and I was really looking forward to seeing her every single day. And realistically, I was 53 years old and she had just turned 30. And I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to amount to anything. It's probably not going to work. It might be fun for a while, but it's obviously, not going to work out. I wasn't rich. I wasn't the most good-looking guy in the world, and I just didn't expect a woman 23 years and a half younger than me to have any interest. And then one day, I was getting ready to go to work, and we were at her apartment, and she was on the couch, and I was, saying goodbye, and I was on my knees at the couch, and I just looked at her, and I just said, "Sometimes I just want to lean in and kiss you." And she said,
"Well, why don't you? Or you should." I don't remember exactly, but it was to the sound
I
of,
remember exactly.
"You should
She
do
said,
it."
"Then go ahead and kiss me."
Okay.
That's exactly what she said. And I did, and the rest was history. It was literally like the universe. We had some moments where we still weren't 100%, where's this going to go? But we did reach a point where we just said, okay, the universe is saying this is going to be a thing. So where do we go from here?
But it happened pretty fast, though. I mean, it really did. Yeah. It happened fast, but I also want to touch back. So in 2015, like it was November of 2015, that I had gone down to Brazil to the John of God Healing Center.
Yeah.
And when I got back from then, I started channeling. And you have always been a medium and a channel. Or I feel like you did like mediumship. I'm not going to speak
I did.
for that. So, but I feel like when I got back, we both started, like, it just kind of woke up. Like, you and I both just started channeling. And Archangel Metatron and Shekinah started channeling through right after we started to meet, like a few months after that. And it was actually through their channeled messages and through their guidance that they began to teach Yahweh and I more about who we were to each other, why we were together. I guess I know you don't like the word like twin flames, but I know. Well, but I feel like, but there is definitely a deep soul connection. Yes. And I think that the fact that you and I came together this lifetime is kind of rare to bring little man in. Yeah. And also to like do a lot of other things and to be together on many levels.
Yeah, I don't like twin flames. I don't like soulmates, and I don't like the word beloved. And God bless everybody out there that does. Please don't get pissed off at me and stop listening. It's just me. There's something about those. I don't know. There's something about those words that just doesn't resonate with me. I get the concept and I believe in the concept. I believe that Ahlara and I have been connected since the original thought. I'm a firm believer that we're all individual manifestations of the original idea. And I believe that some of us were more directly connected than others out there. And I believe that some of us, in our journeys and in our evolutions on a soul level, have reached a point where we begin to recognize more often another individual that's part of our connection. So I think Ahlara and I kind of recognized that pretty much right away. We just had not bothered to define it or figure out what it was going to be. I think that's an important thing for us, because if we had been told you're going to end up together and have a kid, we would have screwed something up. And I think that letting the journey unfold the way it did was exactly what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we decided we were going to be together, and we were going to bring a child into the world. And for me, that was a lot, because my kids were all fully grown. I mean, my youngest at the time was already almost 19, and they were all out of school. The two older ones had jobs, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that. That part of my life is accomplished, and now I move on. And then I meet this young woman here, and who had not had any children, and I was like, well, okay, if we're going to do this, we need to do it soon, because I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah, but Ryan was around me for like 2 years before before we decided. But he was definitely around me for a while.
He was just waiting for me.
Yeah, he was like, "All right, Dad, come on, I chose you. Come here.
Yeah,
you two need to get to it."
Actually, you chose me when you were down at John of God.
Yeah, I did. I manifested him.
We already knew each other, but
I manifested him.
So here, all right, everybody, listen carefully, okay? This is how much she did not want a relationship with me. Okay, she did not want a relationship with me. We already knew each other for a couple of months, or at least a full month and a half.
Yeah, about a month. Yeah.
And she went down to John of God. And what did you do?
If I remember right, I remember manifesting, calling somebody into my life, and I was shown that they were going to move from the coast in. But I didn't realize that was you, so
See, she didn't want me, but she wanted some guy that was going to move in from the coast and be a part of her life. But she didn't want me. So she decided to manifest it after she already knew me.
But since time isn't real, and since since we're multidimensional beings, we'll just say, even though I'd already met you, I manifested you, and then it just like retroactivated or something. What is that like? It went back?
Yes. Thank you. She retroactively fell in love with me.
That's good times. That's fun.
It was.
That's fun.
And so we got together and we got married and we had this amazing little boy, Ryan. And we still, every single day, we're going through heavy shit sometimes. Stuff where, Ahlara was lying on the floor in a pile crying, or taking a wiffle ball bat and beating the shit out of a pillow, or dealing with stuff, and I would be up at 2:00 in the morning holding her, doing energy work or channeling Metatron or Saint Germain or Jesus, and just all this. It was really, I don't remember sleeping for like the first year that I met you.
Well, I feel like Spirit said that you're like the only person that would have stayed with me, and I was like the only person that would have stayed, because if I, like, the amount of trauma that you and I both had, unhealed trauma when we came together, was unreal. And so I felt like my healing was, before like Orion came in until he was like 3, was just like amplified, and I feel like I healed so much in such a short amount of time, and you just literally held space. I don't think I could have gotten through the level that I did without you being there. And then as soon as I got to more of a center, then that's when you went.
It was my turn.
And then it was yours. Yeah. And I feel like now it was like I had the first like 3 or 4 years of healing, then you had the next like 3 or 4 years of healing, and I feel like the last year, it's finally like all that hard work and everything that we supported each other through is now like more at an equilibrium, and we get to serve a deeper level.
And our healing and our support of each other is like a nice, calm ping pong game where, it's your turn, then it's my turn, then it's your turn, then it's my turn. But none of it is nearly as heavy and deep and hurtful and traumatic as what it was. We went through, both of us went through some serious shit. But, to your point of that first few years, a lot of it was you. A lot of it was you just getting rid of all the old bullshit, all the old trauma, the trauma from family, the trauma from relationships, the trauma from who you were before and how you treated people, and the realization of that, and the issues that you had with spiritual teachers who were out of integrity.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where there was a time where you stopped working with anybody except me.
Yeah.
You had friends that were and even then you'd be like, no, I can't take energy work. No, I can't take energy work. You just shut it all off. You had to, for your own safety and sanity at that point. you know, because obviously I was never going to hurt you. And you actually trusted that, which is amazing. Trust, I think, is a real big
part of healing
factor in our relationship. I mean, because I've been through 2 marriages, both of them cheated on me. So my trust of women, which dates back to my mom, who always had a boyfriend waiting in case a relationship ended. And I thought women were all like that, you know, growing up. And so my trust of women alone has been a horror show for me and no fucking picnic for you. You know?
No, yeah, it was really, I really got to learn that I was just holding space.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with me. So like you and I definitely mirrored each other's like deepest triggers and wounds at some time. But I think this also goes to like right now we're in like the rising and the deep healing of the feminine. And that was, I feel like you really did an amazing amount of work with that, which manifested through relationships with women and within yourself.
Something that, and I think this is true in any relationship, when one of the partners has been through some serious trauma that involves trust with a partner, and trust being broken by a partner, that they go into new relationships and they carry that with them. They can't help but carry that with them sometimes. And the other partner eventually gets to the point where they don't even want to deal with it anymore. Now, I know a lot of people who have had broken relationships because one of the partners was jealous all the time, was concerned that they were going to leave, concerned that things weren't going to last at some point. I know it's not going to last. I know you're going to leave me. I know you're going to find somebody else. And that's the shit that Laura had to go through with me. And I've seen other relationships where the other partner eventually says, I can't do this anymore. If you can't trust me, if you can't believe me, then I need to walk away. And while that's fair for that person, Ahlara didn't do that. Ahlara stuck with me. And she said, I hear you. I see that you have been through something horrible, and all I can do is continue to promise you that I will never do that to you. And this was the key for me. Even if we don't make it someday, even if our relationship has such a serious change that we're no longer together, it won't be because of that. Yeah. I will never, ever, ever cheat on you because I love you and because I have too much respect for you. And that right there, the fact that she stuck with me through all that bullshit, has given me the opportunity to actually trust somebody again. And I know Ahlara will never, ever, ever hurt me in that way. She won't. You know, there are days where we get fighting with each other, and I admit it, and I think she would too, that the back of our head we're like, how much more can we take of this? But it never gets so bad that it's a serious conversation. And I know it's not going to be because she found somebody else. And that's a huge, huge healing for me. And it's because of her that I was able to heal that.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I also want to say, too, that I know not every relationship is going to look like that. I have friends who do poly. You know, I have friends who are open relationships. And that's awesome. And that's fantastic if that's what, you know, if that's like your path and your choice. Like, we decided like that wasn't our path. And so for us, it was, you know, it felt good for us to have that agreement in our relationship that we weren't going to have anybody else outside of our marriage. And what was I going to say?
Except for Gal Gadot.
So, yeah, well, you know, but here's the thing too that I learned through that process with you was that I knew it wasn't. Well, first off, when that would come up in you, it would bring up the parts of myself that did break relationships off when I was younger with other people, right? Like I was like the other woman when I was in my 20s or even in my late teens. And so it was really fascinating that I knew that what you were going through was your own shit. And I was just holding space, and I just happened to be like the trigger and the person that you were working that through. And for me, then it would bring up that old feeling of, oh, like I'm bad or I'm not trustworthy. And so, but that was from my own stuff, right? That I had like worked through from the past. But I also, I think when we're being triggered, we have to know when it's the other person's stuff. Right. And that was yours. And I knew that. And I just held space for you because there's nothing I could have done other than just hold space for you. Like I reflected back how you felt, you know, and how hard that must have been. And then but you're the one that did the work, right? You're the one that healed that within yourself. And I think that you and I have just held space for each other through some really messy human stuff. To heal that, because you and I would say have both. We've all made mistakes. We've all done shitty things. Like we've been out of integrity as we've grown. But I think from that I've learned that when I was that way, like that caused so much pain for everybody and myself. And so now it is that being in integrity and safety and love, knowing that the effects that it has on me and on others is just an easy choice now.
So let's go back a few years, and let's talk about after Ryan was born. You know, he had been around for a while. We were friggin' dirt poor.
We were.
We would literally I had sold everything and just moved out here with nothing. I had a job, you know, at Unity, but, you know, it was just barely getting us by, you know. So we did not have
a dual income.
We did not have a dual income. We did not have a ton of spending money. We were, you know, making choices between paying the whole rent and not paying the electric bill, or paying half the rent and paying the electric bill and then paying the other half the next time I got paid. I mean, we had our moments. But along with that, like running parallel with that, we were also dealing with our spiritual lives, you know, and we had started up the Light of Truth before Orion was born. And then that kind of petered out, and Ahlara was doing it by herself for a while, and I started having my, I guess they call it dark night of the soul. I started getting fed up with spirit. I started being bitter towards them, and I was tired of channeling because, you know, I'm opening up my body and my energy to all these other energies and entities and all this stuff and I was like, what the fuck are they doing for me, you know? And I had reached a point of anger and frustration where I just shut it down. I didn't want anything to do with it. And that really caused a ripple in our relationship because I was drinking too much. I was not present when I was home. I was, you know, I would find time to spend extra time in my office. I mean, just we had stopped sleeping together because of co-sleeping, and I cannot sleep with all the movement and noise in the middle of the night and things like that. I'm okay with being in the next room, and I will hear my son make a noise, and I'll be able to deal with that. But if somebody's right next to me, I can't rest. And so, I was sleeping on the couch every night, and that was causing issues with us. And we actually got to such a horrible point, a terrible point, where one day Ahlara said to me, I think you should move out. I think I don't think this is working, and I think for our own sake, if we're going to save our marriage, we need to be separate for a while. And she had even reached out to the person who ran the apartment complex to find out if there was a studio apartment available right away. I mean, that's how bad it was. This was not even a conversation.
It was, you're getting out.
You're getting out, and there's a place here for you. You're not going to... At no point was I going to be away from my son. We were going to do full shared parenting, and but I could not stay there any longer. And so I moved into a studio apartment across the quad, and I had quit drinking, and then when I moved out, I fell back into it and was drinking every single night for a few weeks, to the point where it put me in the hospital, where my whole body swelled up, retaining fluid, and I literally had to go to the emergency room. And that's when they told me point blank, if you drink anymore, you're going to die. They thought I had liver issues at the time. I had my pacemaker put in a couple of years before, so obviously that drinking wasn't good for me anyway. But that was August of
it was
2020.
in the middle of COVID. It was in the middle of COVID. And to add to that, I had been sober. I got to the point I was a really bad alcoholic, and I quit drinking in 2011, I believe. Or no, I think maybe it was 2013. And it was at that point, too, where Spirit was like, if you don't quit drinking, you're going to die. Yep. And so I had been sober for, 2 or 3 years before I met you. And then, drinking was an issue for you. And so that was another layer of, like, you need to get out of the house. Yeah.
Yep. And, so it was rough. And so I've been sober ever since. But I had my little studio apartment. And to me, it wasn't big enough because I had Orion over quite a bit. And it wasn't comfortable. So I moved into a one-bedroom as soon as it opened. I literally was in the studio a month, and then I moved into a one-bedroom, which was closer to our old apartment. Literally walking distance for the little guy. He could just run over and come in my door. And I had a bedroom and a kitchen area, and it was just nicer. And I got to the point where not only was it okay, but I was starting to heal. I was starting to figure my shit out. I was spending time alone doing my work. I was still a dad. I was still with him whenever I could be. We still shared him. He stayed over in my apartment sometimes and stayed with Mom some other times. And, we would still do family meals together once in a while and watch the Chiefs games together and hook up every once in a while.
Well, I want to go into this because during the first few weeks, another breaking point for me was that you were not willing to go to therapy at that point.
Correct.
That you were not willing to go to any couples counseling, and so I had like a coach at that time, and so she was very neutral, and so and supporting the process of navigating our marriage. And the main thing she said was just notice how his actions are, just look at the information. What do you have control over? What do you not? And I finally hit this point where I was like, you still weren't ready to go to therapy. And at that point, I was like, that was my breaking point. I was like, okay, I'm going to ask him for a divorce. And I thought this in my head, and I got a text from you like 2 to 5 minutes later. Like, it was literally almost right after I decided. I was like, okay, he is not going to, at that point you weren't ready to do the other side yet. And then finally, like 2 to 3 minutes after, or what, 2 to 5, it was really close afterward, you were like, I get this text from you, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go to therapy. And then I sent him a text. I was like, but I just decided to divorce you. But it was like in the energy field, I released an attachment, and then at the same time, you stepped in, right? It was just like this. And so then at that moment, I was like, okay, well, if he's willing to step in and do the work that I've been asking for. So I thought that was a very interesting moment. And again, this was in the middle of COVID that all this happened. This is 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, because we were separated for 9 months.
Yeah.
And then we decided to move back in together. Shit changed at Unity. I got let go there, and got on disability because of my heart and my lung and anxiety and all that stuff. So that actually helped us a great deal because, that brought in that steady income that we really needed, so that we could get, a more reliable car for me. And, we actually, we still didn't sleep together because but we were okay with that for the time being, because I just really needed my own space. I mean, we even had 2 beds in the bedroom for a while.
I want to be
I could sleep separately.
I want to be clear that not sleeping together doesn't mean that we were not sleeping together. It just means that, so like we have our own sleeping spaces. He has his own bed, his own space, and I have my own bed and my own space. And we had like a party at our house and someone's like, you can do that? And we're like, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. Like nothing about our relationship, our family, like it does not fit in this like normal box on any level. And we just do. And that was hard for me. I did like to sleep with you. And I feel like that was something that I honored your space because you really need your own space. And so that was something, I don't want to use the word compromise, but I feel like it was an attachment that I released because I know it served you. But then what I also learned from that with myself was that I do a lot of processing at night. Like a lot of like downloads come. I do a lot of like processing. So it actually, it's good that we have our own space because you and I process very differently.
And to be clear, it's not that I don't like sleeping with her. It's that I literally cannot sleep with another human being next to me. I've reached a point I can't. Orion, I would love to snuggle with him all night long. Can't do it. First time he moves, I'm wide awake, and then I'm awake for 2 hours. I just can't do it. And I sleep shitty anyway. So to have somebody waking me up, it just doesn't work for me. This works for me. And I think it's better. If it works for one of the partners, it's usually a good thing, as long as the other partner isn't being harmed in any way. If you find something that works, that allows the one partner to have the space that they need and to process in the way that they need to process, and to refresh and regenerate in the way that they need to, then it's a good thing for the relationship in most cases, as long as it's not causing any harm to anyone. So,
and as long as everyone's getting their needs met too.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And we more than get our needs met.
We do. We have a really great sex life.
We really do.
We really do. It's amazing. Really and we're very like intimate and loving and but we also honor each other when you're like, I'm not in the space. So you're like, okay. And he maybe sometimes, and we're like some days, like some weeks are just like completely out of sync. Like you're totally in the space and I was like, I'm not here today. But I just think that's so healthy because it's like you can't force our bodies are usually like, I'm open, I'm ready. But
and to reach the point where you don't take that shit personally, because it doesn't have anything to do with me. It doesn't have anything to do with her not being attracted to me. It has to do with her not feeling like it. And that's really that simple. I just don't feel like it right now. And guess what, folks? It's okay to not fucking feel like fucking. It's okay.
I know, but I think even as we are married, you should always, like, we always ask. I mean, like, there's, like, sometimes where, like, I love it, come on, like, when I randomly cook, because you usually do most of that. But, you know, he'll come up and, like, you know, grab me and touch, and that's fun. And but we always ask. We'll be like, nope, I'm not in the space. But, like, even though you're married, you should always ask, because you, like, that's just respectful. That is respect, right? Like, you should, like, every time is an ask and an honoring of that.
Yeah, I agree. We started talking about sex, and I lost what we were talking about before. Isn't that the story of a guy's life? Well, we started talking about sex, and I don't know what the hell was going on.
I don't know what happened. Let's see.
So we were in the apartment. We were sleeping separately, and I was just getting sicker and sicker and more uncomfortable.
So was Orion. Orion was having terrible lung stuff.
Yep. And we realized that we just could not live in that space anymore. We found out that the ventilation system was connected by 4 apartments in each section. So the air that we were breathing is the same air that someone else was breathing, and the air that they were exhaling was the same air that we were breathing in. And so it was just, that's why, like, you couldn't have an animal, because the person upstairs over the other apartment may be allergic to dogs, which made no sense to me until I found out that the ventilation system was connected. Somebody could be cooking something, we could smell it. And so we decided, maybe we should start looking at a house, something that has enough space for all of us. We were in a position where we knew how much we could afford, and we knew it was going to be significantly more than what we were paying, because we had a great deal where we were, which was fantastic when we were broke. And so we started looking, and I don't think we looked at 4 houses. I think we only looked at 3. But I think we decided on one of them before we looked at the third one. And when we applied for it, they had said to us it'll take a few days, and then an hour later we got our approval. Yeah, it was just done. And you can move in a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden it was like boom, 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 boom. We got to get it done.
Yeah, and it was
Go ahead.
No. Yeah, and it was like I think we got our keys on solstice, so we got them like on the 20th, like on December 20th, and it was like negative 25 degrees.
Yes, it was.
I go by star alignments. Anything.
Yes, I do.
Star alignments, moon, solstices. Yes. He's like rolling.
We got him on December 21st.
He's rolling his third eye.
Yes.
But yes,
I would have said we got him December 21st, and she would say we got him on the solstice.
We got him on the solstice.
Part of the love that I have for her. And the fact that I can roll my third eye at her, and she just smiles now and realizes that I don't mean anything negative towards her. It's just part of our relationship, and I love her for it. But we were lucky because the house we got checked every box. We had a big yard with a fence for our son to play in, and a deck, and everybody had their own space. I had half the basement is finished, so that became mine, so that I could have my bed and I have a sofa down here, and now I have my podcast site down here, my podcast office down here, and still have plenty of room. And then she has her own room, and Orion has his own room, and we have a separate meditation room, which now also is where she does her podcasts from. And we will plug your podcast at the end, I promise.
Oh yeah.
Boop. And it just clicked every box. 2-car garage, nice neighborhood, good school system. Excuse me. It literally was like click, 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 click. And we could afford it.
Yeah, like so this is a house that we are renting at the moment because we just were not in a space to buy. But the rent had gone down like $500 or $600, and we're like, what the fuck is wrong with this house? Like nothing. Spirit's like, we just held it open for you. There's nothing wrong with it. Zero.
It's literally nothing wrong with it.
Spirit was just like, pure grace. Let us hold this open for you, and they did. And they brought it down to like because at that time I was still working part time and going to school full time to be a counselor, and so. Anyway, so it was in our pay range, but then it was only a few months. Then we realized that I actually released everything and went and got a full-time job in city government, which that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, we could keep
not-
going for hours on that one.
The most spiritual work I've ever done, working in city government.
No shit. No shit. Yeah, she could not have taken that job 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
No, I wouldn't have been ready.
Done it. She would have literally shriveled up like a flower. I knew how strong she was from the beginning, but she still had to do her work and be sure of it for herself. Because so many times people don't realize how much they have to do their own work in order to thrive in some of these situations. And fortunately, Ahlara does know that. And so she has thrived. And, happy or not happy in this other position, it's been a benefit for us.
It has been, yeah. I've learned so much.
Yes, absolutely. And you've been able to take some courses and get certified in some things, so it's definitely beneficial. And it'll look good on your resume, and as you're searching for that other job that you want,
Yes.
It's perfect. So I didn't prepare a list of things to kind of keep us on track. I figured we'd just kind of float along and see how it goes. You look like you want to make a point about something.
No, I'm just thinking about, do you want to talk about more about spirit?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Go for it.
Oh, you want me to talk about spirit?
Well, I think both, because there was times where I felt very abandoned, like when we had the light of truth, and you're just like, I'm gonna just step out and say fuck spirit, and I hate all this, and I want to punch myself in the face, and I was like, what the hell? Like, you just left me here.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, because I literally felt like it wasn't working for me anymore, and I really, through doing my work and the counseling that we did together, and books that I've read, and time I've spent in meditation, I came to realize that part of the reason that I stepped away from spirit, especially like the channeling and stuff like that, because I was channeling nonstop. I've got literally pages and pages and pages and pages of channeled messages that someday are going to go into a book after I finish the one that I'm currently working on. Just channeled message after channeled message after channeled message on every subject you can possibly think of. And every single time it was some different energy that I was dealing with, whether it was Jesus or Yogananda or Hilarion or Metatron or Saint Germain. All these energies were coming through me, sometimes kicking my ass physically. There were times that I channeled with her. I would be late night channeling in bed, and they would stop me from breathing. Like, literally, like, she would have to shake me and scream at spirit, he has to breathe, And,
forgot about that,
Yeah. And, or it would just kick my ass so much that I couldn't even move afterwards. I had one time where I was literally paralyzed for several minutes.
Yeah, and there was one time too that there were these beings called the they're from Luminarias. They were ET beings from Luminea. And so he would channel at times, and they would kick him out, and they would talk with me. And that was also when you were going through your like walk in and like walk out. So I think parts of you would walk out when they would channel through you. But there was a time where like he would channel and he wouldn't remember. Yeah. And on some level, you would have had to have given permission for this to happen. And I think it was to support your like process. It didn't like come in without having an invite. But the Luminaeans came in one time, and they were embodying him. You were completely out at that point, and they were walking around, and they walked out like you walked outside, but they were in your body, and you fell off the stairs, and I was like, get in, you're gonna kill my husband. But and then they wrote those like light language on our mirror, Yes, they were fun, but I had to like tell them to not walk with you.
Yeah, yeah, there was, yeah, there were times, but that was part of what pushed me away. That was like, I mean, I'm getting my ass kicked, and I'm literally putting myself in physical danger sometimes by allowing this to happen, and I was pissed. So I pushed away and I shut it down. And when I did my work and spent my time inside, I realized that I have access to the exact same information that they had. I have literally can reach out into the cosmos, and I call it the truth stream. Everybody has a truth stream, and I can look into the truth stream and find the same information that Saint Germain can find, or that Jesus can find, or that Hilarion can find. And when I realized that, and I realized that all I really need to do is just get my human self out of my way and allow my spiritual self to do the work. It didn't kick my ass. It wasn't heavy. It wasn't hurtful. And it was the same information, sometimes even deeper. And there were things coming out of me that I had no business knowing. Information that, as Matthew, who I was before, could not possibly have known. But still, it was coming out of me. And when I reached that point, that's when I started allowing spirit back into my life and allowing that connection of being one with spirit in a different way to come back to me. And it's kind of the point of what we want to talk about here, where we're both on these separate spiritual journeys at different places. Nobody's higher or lower than the other one. She's not more advanced than me for anything, and I'm not more advanced from her, for anything. It's really about just being in a different place on the path and still holding hands and being on a path together through all of that, where we can be on, we're multidimensional creatures, and we can be on separate paths and different paths, and every path, that movie that you love so much, Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's who we are on a spiritual level. That's who we are as spiritual beings. And when I finally reached the point where I understood that, I was able to find my way back to the progress and evolution of my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And I did that with her beside me, helping me at times, being my cheerleader at times, and just being there for me. Bless you.
Sorry.
And I hope I do the same thing for her.
Yeah. I think I had this vision in my head that we were going to like lead together and do our businesses together, like the divine masculine and feminine together. But I think
there was a time that we were going to do that.
Yeah, we were going to do that. Yeah. And I still think we do it, but in just a different way now. Yeah. And it was when you got sick, right? I mean, I'll go into that, like, that's your story to tell. But, from like 2022 to 2024, you went through a really big healing journey. And during that time, I really got in and worked with Yogananda. And I worked on building my own healthy divine masculine within myself. And I feel like you worked on building your divine feminine within yourself. So I felt like we each began to build what we were getting from each other, but then we were also building that within ourselves.
Yeah.
And I want to, like, why you're also saying that we're on two different paths on some level is that, so the Starseed world, working with the Galactic Federation, I'm working with the extraterrestrials in our Starseed family is my path. And, you used to put foil over your head and be like, I don't want the Pleiadians in. And so,
all right, just to be clear, it was
Yeah,
jokingly. All right,
was joking. Yeah, it was
I'm not a
funny.
foil head. I'm not a foil hat wearer. Okay, but it is funny.
it was funny. And so I think that it was an expectation I had of you, of our relationship, of what I wanted my spiritual work, and I was putting expectations on you on how I wanted you to be, because how I wanted it to look in my head. Yep. And so I feel like that was I had to release that and be able to give myself everything that I needed without putting those expectations on you. And you and I both, like you birthed Aligned AF right at the same time that I birthed the Interstellar Earth Alliance. Yep. Like they were almost like literally probably within like weeks of each other that both of our work came through. So we both, I feel like, deeply work on the humanness and what we go through on the human level as we awaken spiritually, because it's fucking messy and it's hard sometimes. I mean, oh my God, we're not going to talk about what's going on what is going on in the world right now is very intense, right? And so and as we awaken spiritually, that can be intense. So how do we work through that? And how do we work through that in relationship as we're working with in a marriage, in a partnership, where we don't, like Orion the other day, he's like, someone said, he was like, what's a Bible? I was like, oh God. But I feel like we just talk about spirit, we talk about God, like within our house all the time. And we try to take Orion I try to take him to like Buddhism, SRF, Unity, and he just had no interest. He was like, meh. And so we just talk and try to embody and bring that into our day-to-day lives. We talk about downloads and multidimensionality and starseeds and angels, and so I feel like he just gets that just from being our son and being in our fields. Yeah,
and to be clear, we don't downplay any religion.
To
him, we don't not talk about God. It's just how we see God, where we don't talk about God as a dude with long hair sitting on a throne in the clouds. That's not God in our family. It's not God to us. It makes no sense that would be God to us. So we talk about God as part of everything, God is part of me, part of you, part of him, part of his toys, part of a rock, part of everything, and he has an 8-year-old understanding of that. I think he has a healthy 8-year-old understanding of that, and he refers to God as she, which means he probably knows way more than I do at this point. And that's good because I think the world really needs a female God energy right now.
Yeah, I feel like the divine definitely comes to him through the feminine, for sure. I feel like the goddess is strong with him.
Yeah, I think so too. We were talking about something else when you said you wanted to go back to.
We were just talking about, we talked about your path on spirituality and the channeling and how that shifted, and then
that's how I was gonna bring that up. It was kind of how I became Yahweh too, because I stopped being Matthew a long time ago. It just was not comfortable for me. I got to the point where somebody would say Matthew and I wouldn't even turn around. It just didn't feel like me anymore. And for a little while, I called myself a Ma. That kind of came to me, I don't know, at a meditation at work or something like that. Oh, I think it came to me during a white stone ceremony. That's what it was. And so I was like, oh, this resonates a little bit. And then Ahlara started calling me a Ma. Unless she was pissed at me, then she would refer to me as Matthew because I was acting like that. But that never really anchored in for me. And I got to the point where, 2 years ago now? How long have I been Yahweh?
Well, you had RSV. I think it was like you were really sick when it came in.
I was. We were here. We were in this house.
Yeah.
And I was super sick, and I was just so, I don't know what the word is. I was feeling lost in who I was, and so I took it to meditation, and I came right out, and I said, I don't know who I am. I don't know what to answer to. Nothing resonates with me anymore. I believe what I believe, and I am confident that my beliefs are true. But I don't know who I am, and I need help with that. And as clear as day, a voice came to me and said, well, you believe God is everything. Yes, I do. I believe that. And you believe in that case that while God is in everything, God is also in you. Yes, I totally believe that. Then you may use my name. And all of a sudden I went, Yahweh? And it felt so right. It felt so comfortable. It felt like I was talking to myself. And when I said something to Ahlara, she didn't even hesitate. She's like, yes, that's it. And she's called me Yahweh ever since. And I introduce myself to people as Yahweh. I haven't legally changed it. I still have my legal name that I sign if I have to sign a check or a paper or anything like that. Though I do sign most documents that aren't like legally binding. I just sign them Yahweh. It's just who I am at my spiritual core. And, it's fun to have that name because the humans don't always get it. I've gotten some looks. I've gotten some, what was that again? I've gotten some great reactions. I had a guy, I introduced myself to him, and he said, did you say Yahweh? And I said, yes, I did. And he goes, I can't wait to get home and tell my wife that I met Yahweh today. And I was like, well, good answer. So I embrace that.
Yeah.
Just like, Ahlara, when she changed her name, she knew that she was not Lene anymore, and she became Ahlara. But I think a tree gave you your name, right?
Yeah, so let's go into that. I think this is an important topic to go into, is name change. So our son too, he's like, I'm going to change my name when I get older. That's like, that's totally fine. But he gave us his name. Like, we heard it, you either heard it in a dream or
I heard it in a meditation.
Yeah, in a meditation. Yep. So you'll see this, I think, the name. When your frequency shifts, your name is a frequency. So Ahlara, it's actually keys, it's tonal, it is active, it actually activates codes Ahlara. And so it was in 2015, and I had happened to be working with a group, and multiple of them in the group had changed their name. And so it was in my awareness at that time, and I was going through such what we will describe a walk-in. Bashar describes a walk-in not as we see it, as like one. So I felt that like one soul literally left and another soul walked in. Like, that's how I first felt what happened. My face changed, my body changed. I did look very, very different. People who knew me before, I had like one really good friend, and we've been friends since I was like 16, and she was like, that is not the same person. And so when we begin to embody a different frequency, and again, as I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Yahweh, but how Bashar described it was that, and how I've heard it is that we anchor in a higher aspect of ourselves, right? Yeah. So we have like we anchor in a higher, more frequency of ourselves, right? Like more of our light. And when we anchor that in, it's completely different. So it feels like a brand new person.
Yes.
And so Lene was my old name, and that definitely did not resonate or sit. And I was working with a guide at the time, Red Feather and White Buffalo Woman. And I was at a tree at Unity, and I was open because I knew I was going to be getting another name. And the name came through the tree. I went to this tree every time by the labyrinth, and I heard Ahlara, like very strongly, like radiate through my whole being. And I thought it was Alara. And then I went to like a channeling session like a few nights later, and all of a sudden when I was in this group, I just got this knowing. I was like, oh, it's AH. And there was somebody sitting right next to me that literally turned around and said to me at the same time, I think you have an H in your name. So it was like, not only did I get it like inwardly, I had someone like right next to me reflect that back. And so it was important. I did legally change mine. I've had 4 legal names. I'm on my 4th. I'm not going to change it again. And so then when you change yours, it does. It is like the outward reflection of your new energy.
Yeah.
And people around you, like my family fucking flipped shit. They thought I was suicidal. They were like, she cut off her hair. She changed her name. She's selling all of her clothes. And they lost it. Like people, and at that time I was doing real estate. And I was like, I'm changing my name. And my boss at the time, he was like, I am not calling you by that name. I'm going to call you Lene. And I was like, well, that tells me everything I need to know. So you will notice that when you go through a shift, when you change your name, the people that are close to you, maybe your family members, they totally might not understand. They might freak out. Don't. They will be like, who are you? What's happening? What's wrong with you?
Right.
And that, I mean, it can be so messy because the way you existed in other people's heads, they have to let that part of you die within them.
Yeah.
Right? Like they have to let that go because who you were before is not who is living inside their head.
Right. But some muggles won't do that.
Muggles,
they won't let go. They won't. I went through, I've got a friend who looked me in the face. I was Matt most of my life. Growing up through school, my mom called me Matt. My friends all called me Matt. I didn't become Matthew until I was like in my 30s. But when I decided that I wanted to be called Matthew, I said that to one of my friends, and most of them were on board with it. That's great. That's your name. That's fine. My friend kept calling me Matt and kept calling me Matt and kept calling me Matt. And finally one day I said to him, hey, dude, I prefer Matthew. I prefer it. It's my name. It's legal. I prefer Matthew. And he looked me in the eye and said, you've been Matt to me your whole life. I will never call you anything else. And right then and there, I realized this guy's got no fucking respect for me. None whatsoever. And he and I really didn't stay friends at that point. So when you change your name to something even more obscure, you'll notice people dropping off. People just drop off. And it's one thing for somebody to just make a slip. Like every once in a while your mom will slip or your dad will slip and still call you Lene. But they're making an effort.
Yeah.
Now.
Or they, like my mom will like apologize. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
They're making
and I'm
the effort.
like she makes the effort.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, I hear Matthew now and I don't even get it. I don't even respond.
I know, I hear it too and I'm like, who is that?
Every once in a while I'll slip and I'll call myself Matthew. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Well, it came from 60 years of being Matthew,
Mm-hmm.
So that's, it's just one more aspect of what, it's one more aspect that's okay in your spiritual journey. Because you asked me sort of my take on what Bashar said. That's exactly my take. All it is you're holding such new energy that is yourself energy, but it's yourself on a level and frequency and dimension that you've never experienced before, so that it does not make sense and it is not comfortable to be that old energy anymore. You mentioned that your name holds energy. And your name is a sound.
Yeah, everybody's.
You don't have a name.
Yeah,
You don't have a name without a sound.
yeah, and
Everybody has
everybody's
that.
name is.
So
everybody's name is tonal and
a
energetic.
sound has a frequency. So when I say Matthew, it has a certain frequency. I don't hold that anymore. I don't live in that frequency anymore. So when you say Matthew, it doesn't resonate as who I really am. Who I really am right now is Yahweh. And that doesn't mean that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 6 years from now, it might not be something else. And that's okay. You know, and you're going to get the people that just roll their eyes and say, whatever, dude. You know, you're changing your name again. Isn't that convenient? Whatever. No, it's decidedly inconvenient sometimes because of people like you who just don't fucking get it. That it's okay to be on a spiritual journey and to evolve and to not feel like that person anymore. None of us are the person we were yesterday, let alone 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And
let's
if you
talk
don't
about.
resonate as that, then it's okay to find something else that makes you feel right.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. It's all right. You can go
Well,
ahead.
it made me think about. I wanted to talk about that. Like, people will fall out of your life
They will.
as you awaken.
Yeah.
As you as you become more of your authentic self. The things that you release and the people that were attached to those things that you released will fall off. So it is this ever-ending, it just happens. Like, you will just, as you shift your
okay.
environment and the people, and there's a grieving process in this
Sure.
too. Like, there's a huge, like, I actually did a full ceremony burying Lene, right? Like, releasing that, and it took years. It took years to release that. So it's and you don't have to change your name to mourn the shifts that you make. It's like sometimes doing the healthiest thing is the hardest thing that you can do, and it's okay to, like, say if you're drinking and you decide to be sober, you can mourn who you were as an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's this, even though you release something that was unhealthy, it's perfectly normal and okay and healthy to mourn that, even though it didn't serve you.
Yeah, absolutely right. When I quit, and even like, I don't really think about it much anymore. It's been coming up on 5 years, but there were times where I missed just the time I had to myself when I had a drink. You know, I would come home and I would have 30 to 45 minutes where I would sit, I would have a bourbon, maybe two, and just be with myself for a little while. And I miss those things sometimes, but I've found ways to be with myself without the alcohol. But it doesn't mean I don't. And I miss, hanging out with one of my best friends and having a few drinks. I don't even think about going to bars anymore. But I used to like going. I wasn't a drunk. I didn't drink and drive, and I didn't party and go out and pick up women. But I enjoyed sitting at the bar and having a conversation and a couple of drinks. And so I do miss that, the motions of that occasionally. What I don't miss is what the alcohol was doing to me, physically and spiritually. Because physically it was killing my body, and spiritually it was killing my soul.
Yeah.
Everything was numb at that point. And I even went to AA for a few meetings. And while I believe in what it does, and I believe in the help that it has for people, it did not work. It did not resonate for me. I won't say it didn't work, because who knows, maybe it did. But it did not resonate for me because of my belief system, because of believing in something that's more powerful than me. And I don't believe there's anything more powerful than me because of my feelings on God. So to kind of separate that. Also because I didn't have the horror stories that other people had. it wasn't just drinking that hurt my marriage, or I didn't lose my license or get in an accident and hurt somebody or lose my job because of it. None of that stuff happened because of alcohol. What happened because of alcohol was it physically fucked up my body, and it spiritually fucked up my life, and it emotionally made me just numb. And I was never drunk. I don't remember the last time I was drunk, but I was always numb. And I looked forward to being numb, and that was the problem.
Yeah. I think when when you quit alcohol, then the real work begins.
Yeah, because
right?
You don't have anything that's stopping you from that anymore.
Yeah.
Shit, now I have to feel it.
Now you have to feel it.
Because I've got nothing to buffer it.
Right, yeah, because I personally think that I do know that alcohol has a physical addiction, but I truly believe that it is a way to cope through trauma. It is a trauma Band-Aid to not feel, or you might not, I think it was Eckhart that said that alcohol on some level keeps people from committing suicide because it numbs them out so they can at least function until they're ready to deal with the feelings, until it's starting to kill you. And then, and then just like, all right, then you have to make a choice and you have to do the hard work. Right. And I've seen that, with my best friend and with others, that once you have the bravery to quit, then get ready, because then you got to do all the work on what you are hiding with alcohol or numbing out.
I want to be clear on something. I'm not an expert on alcoholism. I'm not a doctor or a counselor related to alcoholism, but it is my opinion. It is my belief that there are a few different types of alcoholics. Some of them are physically addicted to the alcohol itself. And God bless them. I hope they find their way out of that. But I think there are those that avoid giving it up because they don't want to feel, because they are afraid of how hard it's going to be and how painful it's going to be to do the work that in the backs of their minds, in the depths of their souls, in the center of their hearts, they know that they have to do in order to heal. They have to do this work, but it's going to fucking hurt, and it's going to be long, and it's going to be drawn out, and it's not going to go away anytime quick. And if I have a few drinks, I don't have to think about it. And it's not, and even if it's not hurting you physically, it's still hurting you. And again, that's not everybody. If you have a few drinks, God bless you. That's your choice, man. And I don't judge people for having a few drinks after work, or, it's 4th of July today. And, if you're at a barbecue having a few beers, God bless you. Have a good time. I don't judge you for that. And I can be around you when you're like that. It doesn't bother me anymore. But for those that are doing it just to tune out, just to separate yourself from something that might hurt a little bit, or a conversation you don't want to have, or a look in the mirror that you're a little bit afraid of, that's the stuff that's hurting you. And that's where something needs to change. And I'm not saying you maybe you don't have to quit completely. Maybe you just need to shift however it is you're using it, where if you can find a way to do your work and face your traumas and deal with your bullshit and still have a couple beers on the weekend, then God bless you, go for it, I wish you luck with that. But there's going to be many of you out there that just can't deal with it that way. And I don't judge you for where you're at right now, because I've been somewhere within all of the bullshit that you're dealing with. I just hope that you find your way to do your work, whether it has anything to do with alcohol or not. Find the way to get your stuff done.
Yeah. And everybody's healing journey, is going to be different. And so I guess, so here we are. You and I are both new. I feel like our marriage is is very spiritual and it's very human. It's very human. You can't, like, the human experience is the spiritual experience.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like this is where we come to learn, to grow, and what I think I want to, it takes work. Like, you have to do your work, and it's so worth it. And I remember we had friends say, when everything's getting really bad, or maybe you're having a lot of old memories up, or you're getting triggered, or kind of things are like falling apart around you, my favorite thing to shift is, man, something fucking amazing must be coming in to be able to clear all of this out. Something fucking amazing is on his way in. So that's why all this stuff, and every single time it's always happened.
Yeah.
Like when you're at that low point and when you're like dealing with, that tough day or that tough moment, just know that it's being cleared because something amazing is coming in. And I'm using that mantra for our world right now.
You have to make room for it.
Yeah, you have to make room for the good, and
if you're allowing all the bullshit to stay in that one spot, you're allowing all the trauma and all the discomfort to stay where it is. You're not opening up any space for the good shit. The good stuff's got to come, but you got to get that stuff out of the way. You can't keep sweeping it under the rug and expect everything to look all right or to feel all right. It doesn't work that way. So
there's no spiritual bypassing here.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely, we do not believe in let it go, let it go. We don't believe in that. Not in this house, because you don't. We believe in release. We believe in healing and releasing.
Yeah,
but you can't just walk away from something. You have to face it.
Yeah, transmuting. And I think my favorite word is the unity word, chemicalization.
Yeah.
Right? It is that alchemy. The alchemy of the old into the new, and the death process and the rebirth process that you go to that to transform.
Yeah. Alchemy is quickly becoming one of my new favorite words because
it's so
everything is alchemy.
Everything
is alchemy because you're constantly making changes to things. What it is right now is not what it's going to be tomorrow. Who you are right now is not who you're going to be a year from now. And that is alchemy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Baby, I love you. This has been a long episode, and there's so much more that we could talk about. But I would like you to take a few minutes to tell us what you're working on and where people can find you and what your podcast is about. And that may take another hour. So
yeah, no, I'll try to. We will definitely do more.
We'll do the abridged
episodes.
Version.
Yes. All right. So I want to. My work is I am the flame holder and architect of the Interstellar Earth Alliance. And the Interstellar Earth Alliance is a satellite space station that is aligned and connected with the Galactic Federation. And it is here to help prepare people for first contact. And it's here to help bridge and open up and align people to their star family. And it is anchoring down it is a hub and a station that will represent Earth in our galactic family as we step forward as ambassadors of Earth's stepping into the remembrance of serving on the galactic level with our galactic family. This came through in January of 2015, or sorry, not 2015, January of this year, 2025, but I got the blueprints for it in 2015 when I went to Crestone, Colorado. Someone at a bed and breakfast opened up blueprints for me in the morning when I was eating breakfast, and she said, "You need to see these blueprints." And they were blueprints, and she said, "These are blueprints from the Galactic Federation to build a satellite space station on Earth." And I looked at them and I said, "Thank you." And and I was like, awesome.
She rolled her third eye.
Yeah, and I rolled it. No, I didn't roll it. And I was like, awesome, thank you. And so what that did is that actually activated and it installed the blueprint into my field, which was already there before I actually incarnated on Earth. But it was just that next activation for me. And then in January of 2025 this year, I woke up one morning with a complete download and a knowing that the blueprints activated in my field. I was given the name Interstellar Earth Alliance, and I was also asked to call in very many people to help hold the energy and the frequency of this that is being built right now. We need to do an entire podcast on Metatron cubes, by the way.
Okay.
So
we can do it on yours.
Yeah, let's do it on mine. Perfect.
Okay.
I offer free monthly group Metatron Cube attunements. I have a podcast, and I do it twice a month on the full moon and the new moon. Everything we do with the Interstellar Earth Alliance is aligned with galactic alignments, star systems, and the moon, solstices and equinoxes.
Is it equini?
Equini? No, equini. And let's see what else. So we have the podcast. Oh, and then we have a monthly membership. It's called Coffee, Kofi. But you can find us just if you Google interstellarearthalliance.org, you will find my website. And we're going to have Yahweh's website up soon. We need to put up your URL. And so there we go, interstellarearthalliance.org. If you are into the starseed work, we also work deeply with the angelic realm. And yes, starseeds, angelic realm, and ascended masters. And we will be moving to Oregon, because the land in Kansas City cannot hold the Interstellar Earth Alliance. We need land by a mountain with more starseed energy. So we are intending to move, and we're excited to see how Spirit opens that up for us.
And we have no down payment and no place to move to yet, but it's still our intention to do it by next year.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be great, and I'm excited to share with your listeners how it all unfolds.
Yeah. So am I.
Yeah.
I actually am. I didn't think I would want to leave Kansas City, but when we took our trip out to Oregon, I pretty much fell in love out there. It's an amazing place. I want to get back in the pine trees and do some fishing. So can we find you on Facebook?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook, Interstellar Earth Alliance, and I'm on TikTok, Interstellar Earth Alliance, and same with Instagram.
Okay. And what's the name of your podcast?
It is called Interstellar Earth Alliance, and it is...
I'm seeing a theme here.
You're seeing a theme here. Interstellar Earth Alliance. And it's called Transmissions from the Station. And so each podcast has activations and transmissions and channeled messages in there, and you can definitely tell when the transmissions come through, like when I'm just talking like as Ahlara, and then when the transmissions come through, you can like my voice shifts,
everything shifts.
It's like a completely different frequency that comes through.
I was listening to it in the car the other day, and I could tell when it was a channeled message versus a conversation with you.
Yeah. So there we go, Interstellar Earth Alliance.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. And almost everything we offer right now is, the intention from Spirit and the 7 star systems that we're working with is really to transmit. We're building trust, remembrance, and it's being transmitted on a way that has really challenged my ego.
Yeah.
Because it is, oh my God, the work I have done to help bring this through, it is dismantled because we're bringing through the new earth energy, and I am learning what that looks like. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. And I look forward to more episodes with you. And I look forward to the rest of my life with you, because
I love you.
I love you too, darling, so very much. And that's it for today. I hope you folks enjoyed the episode, even though it's really, really long. I'm not going to break it up. I'm just going to let it be one long hour-and-a-half episode, because you can pause it and listen to it later, and take care of that yourselves. But I don't want to break it up because it doesn't. It really flowed. And in the meantime, thank you for joining us. You can reach out to me personally at alignedafpodcast@gmail.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions or connect with you in any way you like. You will be able to find this on, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, most of the major platforms and some of the smaller platforms. And of course, the video podcast will be on YouTube within a day or two. And I look forward to any feedback. Please remember to like and subscribe. Also remember that we are not doctors or medical professionals or psychiatrists. Everything that we share is our opinions and from our own experiences, and we are happy to share it with you. And if any of it resonates, then yay, that's fantastic. And we would love to hear your input on that. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, please reach out. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram as well. So in the meantime, I hope you all enjoy whatever part of the day is left for you. And remember that as you go forward in this life, as you walk through your evolution with someone beside you, that you're becoming closer to Aligned AF every single day. Take care. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode spoke to you at all, share it with a friend or someone who needs it. You can also leave a review or connect with me online. You can find Aligned AF on YouTube, Facebook, your favorite podcast channel, or at alignedaf.org. And if you want to reach out directly, you can email me at alignedafpodcast@gmail.com. So until next time, stay aligned AF.